to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dave at Rugged Dad Headquarters for another episode of the Streams of Income podcast. So one thing I want to get across before you dig into this latest episode and listen to the sheer awesomeness that is contained therein, because it's not all for me, although it's pretty awesome there. But we're going to have some really neat guests from time to time, and I hope you'll enjoy it. But first, I want to say one thing. This is about streams of income. And as we all know from various books and things over the years, what I really mean is multiple streams of income. And so here's the point I want to get across. I don't ever want you to try every single thing we talk about. I don't want you trying every stream of income and side hustle that you ever hear about. Every shiny object you see, I don't want you picking it up because it's not always something you need. What I endeavor to do with this podcast and with all the related content in the Facebook group and everywhere else is for you to find the streams of income that work perfectly for your life, your passions, your calling from God, the amount of time and money you have to put into it. I want you to find ways to do things that merge together and create this wonderful life that's just going to be awesome, and you don't feel like you're bouncing around from thing to thing and you've got 15 different side hustles that take all your time, and then you end up with never enough time for any single one to actually make it a profitable, fun, and exciting venture. So that's my hope for you, and I hope as you listen to the rest of this episode that you'll always take that to heart, and you'll remember that don't jump at every single thing that comes across, but find the things that work for you. Experiment if you need to, but be perfectly willing to ditch the things that don't work for you and don't enhance your life. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Streams of Income podcast. This one is the first of what I plan on doing quite a bit. I've actually done this before on my YouTube channel and spoken about this and also shared it in an email newsletter, and you're welcome to sign up for any of those or subscribe to those. But today, I wanted to talk about exploding topics. This is a newsletter that I've gotten for some time, and it's a free newsletter. You can sign up for this for free, and it comes out once a week, I believe, at explodingtopics.com. And this is not a paid advertisement or anything. It's just something that I get in the email box. It's one of the few that I read all the way through that I find incredibly enlightening for different streams of income. And here's one of the cool things is you've heard me say before about how I don't want you jumping at every shiny object that pops up. Every stream of income that pops up, I don't want you trying all of them. Feel free to experiment. Feel free to dip your toes into things that seem interesting, that you seem specially made to do, or that you think might make you a lot of money in the short term if that's what you need. I've done and worked in different streams of income in the short term because I needed money. I needed to get out of debt. I needed to jump ahead a few spots in the Dave Ramsey debt snowball plan. I'm sure a lot of y'all are familiar with that. Me and my family are way too familiar with that. But I also help teach it at church now. And so I'm even more familiar than I used to be. And so different reasons you'll choose different streams. So the caveat and the disclaimer there is always, don't think you need to do them all. The last thing I want to do is give you ideas for 100 different side hustles, and you're going to try every one of them and never have time to do any of them well. So with that said, I like to use the Exploding Topics newsletter. And like I said, go ahead and subscribe to it if this seems like something cool. But if you're one of those people that jumps at everything, don't do it. Don't do it because it's just going to give you ideas. Now that I have this podcast and this platform, one of the great things for me is I am a person that jumps at all the shiny pennies. I know that about myself, and I have to be careful. So I'm getting better and a little better every day at experimenting with things that seem interesting and then dropping them if necessary. And to be honest with you, there's some of them that I really want to do, but maybe later. Maybe the timing isn't right because I don't have time right now to build a new business. I need to expand the ones I already own. And so, different reasons for different streams. And so what I do a lot of times with this podcast, and one of the reasons I want you to listen every single time I put an episode out. And pay attention in the Facebook group as well, because sometimes I will mention opportunities in the Facebook group that I don't talk about here on the podcast, just because it's smaller. It's not worth a full episode. Maybe I couldn't get an interview with the person that's doing it, different reasons. But I want you to pay attention on all the media aspects of what I do so that you can keep up on all these ideas, because one of my main goals right now is to give away more ideas than I try. If God has given me an idea for something, that doesn't mean I have to do it. Maybe he's just given me that idea so that I can give it to the person who needs it. And so that's what I want to do. And that's what I want to do each time I take a glance at one of these Exploding Topics newsletters. And so let's look at the one today. I'm not going to go over all of them every week because, to be honest with you, it's a hit or miss sometimes. Maybe there's not a topic on there that really jumps out at me. This one I kind of like, though, because there were several things on this one that appealed to me. And so what they usually do on the Exploding Topics free newsletter, they have a pro that you can sign up for. It's a pay service. But on the free one, they'll mention a couple of products, a couple of exploding topics, things that are trending well in the world of commerce and capitalism. And so they'll show the topic, they'll tell a little bit about it. They'll even give some links to where you can find out more information about it. And they usually have some charts to give you an idea of how well this is trending across e-commerce platforms. And so the first one this week that they mentioned is Lion's Mane Gummies. Now, this one I found really interesting because I am a huge fan of Lion's Mane mushrooms. Over the years, let me scan on down to where we get to some of the info. There's the trending chart. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the trending chart right there. Wow. I mean, that is crazy. In mid-2022, it took a spike, probably due to something out there, some kind of media campaign, something like that. But 2023 to now, it has gone crazy. Searches for Lion's Mane mushroom gummies. And like I was going to say, though, I've partaken of Lion's Mane mushrooms in different concoctions for a very long time. It's a well-known nootropic that improves brain function and focus. My favorite method for ingesting Lion's Mane mushrooms, and when I talk about mushrooms, I'm not talking about the freaky, crazy stuff that people grow on cow patties and psychedelics or anything like that. There are so many mushrooms out there that are useful for so many purposes other than eating and psychedelics, and it's absolutely amazing. Well, Lion's Mane is one that I've taken a lot. My favorite method is Four Sigmatic. A company called Four Sigmatic makes an amazing focus mushroom coffee. It is regular coffee and it's pretty good too. I mean, the taste is just way out there. It's so awesome. But it's infused with Lion's Mane mushrooms and some other mushrooms that help improve cognition and mental health. And the flavor, I mean, the flavor's there. The mental help is there. And what I like to do is brew me up a cup about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, sometime after lunch. My 10-year-old daughter actually makes most of my coffee for me. She's my little barista. And I work from home. We homeschool, and after we go for our afternoon hike, something like that, to the mailbox. Yes, my mailbox is so far away from the house that it's a hike to go get the mail. But after we get back, that's like her first job for the day after lunch is to make Dad's coffee, and she's very good. She actually grinds the coffee for me and everything. Pretty amazing. I may actually have to start paying her for being the office barista. But Four Sigmatic coffee is where I've taken it the most. I've actually taken some supplement pills before that had Lion's Mane in them. My wife at one time actually had a little Lion's Mane grow kit, and we were growing some Lion's Mane here in the house. And we've seen it's one of the few mushrooms because it's very recognizable. It doesn't have the caps or like a shelf mushroom that you see a lot. It looks like how do I describe this? Maybe like hair made out of snow. Like if you're walking through the woods, and it grows on trees, not on the ground. You may find it on a tree on the ground, but it's most often up in trees. And it grown on the side of a tree, usually beautiful white color, and it looks like hair, like white frosty hair. It's very recognizable. One of the few mushrooms I would feel comfortable foraging and harvesting out of the woods. But let's read through this and see what's going on with why it's been mentioned here. We already see the chart. I mean, if you're on YouTube right now, you can see this chart is crazy as far as the searches for this, which means it's a hot item. It wouldn't be on here if it wasn't. Traditionally used in Chinese medicine, it's known for improving cognitive function, memory, and overall brain health. However, it has a strong taste, which I actually like, and can be difficult to consume in large quantities, which is why we're seeing a growing demand for gummy-based lion's mane supplements. Now, I love me some gummy bears. I really do. I frequently tell people if there's ever an apocalypse and you come near my house and want to trade for something, bring gummy bears or coffee. And I'll trade you just about anything for that because in the apocalypse, they're going to be hard to come by. And so the thing, though, is I'll eat a ton of gummy bears, but I'm not always a fan of gummy supplements. In terms of taking something, a thing, anything, and ultra processing it down, just to me, it feels like turning a good thing into a gelatin jelly type substance. It just, I don't know. It seems a little too ultra processed. So I might not be one that would really jump on the lion's mane mushroom gummy trend. But lion's mane in general, I mean, if you're wanting to start making some gummies and sourcing some gummies to sell, it'd be a good idea. But lion's mane overall is absolutely amazing, and it's just going up. I don't think it's peaked yet. And let's see, I accidentally hit the wrong button on my screen. Let's get back down to the lion's mane. And yeah, I'm just filling this space with words while I move the screen here. All right, so other popular products in this space include mushroom coffee, which I've talked about already, mushroom protein powder, and mushroom chocolate. And I've had mushroom chocolate as well. And I mean, can you get any better than combining two awesome things? And think about it this way, from a health point of view, mushroom dark chocolate would be absolutely amazing. And so lion's mane gummies are part of the convenient nootropics metatrend. Nootropics are a big deal, and they've always been out there. Certain supplements, certain things that you find in nature and other places. I mean, caffeine, nicotine, nootropics that have been around forever, but convenient nootropics that are actually healthy for you, and not just constantly ingesting more and more and more caffeine, which I'm apt to do myself. It's healthier across the board, and so that's something you may want to look into. If you're not sure if you want to take nootropics, how about just go out and go on Amazon or Netflix or somewhere and watch the movie Limitless. And it's science fiction, but it might give you an idea, man, of just how good the nootropics feel sometimes. You won't be as awesome as Bradley Cooper in the movie, but it's like that whole movie is a commercial for nootropics. So watch the movie, not the TV series. You can watch the TV series after the movie. Bradley Cooper was in both, but watch the movie first. The TV series only lasted a season, and it was basically just a sequel. But also the Jason Bourne movies are also a commercial for nootropics, and so that'll kind of move you into there and see how awesome it is. All right, so one of the things they do on the Exploding Topics newsletter, they also put some links at the bottom, usually for some of the biggest companies that are coming out with products or new and innovative companies. And so they've got one here, non-alcoholic beverages with nootropics, adaptogens, and botanicals. This is from Kin Euphorics. I've actually oh man, Gymweed. That's what it is. I've used an energy drink or drank an energy drink before that I picked up at the vitamin shop called Gymweed, and it's infused with adaptogen mushrooms and things like that. Not the best tasting drink I've ever had, but it's not bad for an energy drink. If you're wanting to do something to use mushrooms and other things of that nature instead of pure caffeine, whether it's from green tea, coffee, or other sources, energy drinks with adaptogens might be a little better for you. Let's see, here's one, Odyssey Elixir, high concentration of active mushrooms. Not sure what that means by active. Maybe, like they jump out the drink can and run down your throat into your stomach. I don't know, but it does sound interesting. We've got nootropic gum and mints. Now that sounds interesting, but it still, to me, falls into the ultra processed category. And then Noah Cube, 12 all natural ingredients, nootropic supplement designed for daily use. And I love the wording here because it's exactly what I hit around 2 to 3 afternoon. That's my energy slump time. That's when I kind of falter. And I look at the clock on my laptop right now and it's 2:20 p.m. and I'm at my slump period right now, except glance over to my desk over there, and I'm not going to get up and go get it right now because y'all are watching and listening, but I've got a nice big old mug of coffee up there that my daughter brewed for me, and it's looking mighty tasty right now because I'm hitting my slump period. Most of you will have a slump period. What I want you to do before you start popping the nootropics and hitting more caffeine is find out the optimal times to use it. For me, a big mug of coffee in the afternoon, and that pulls me the rest of the way through the workday. It actually sharpens my focus for the latter half of the workday and helps me get some work done, get some things wrapped up, and just all kinds of all-around niceness. Oh, my lovely wife, you can't see her on screen, but she just walked by and magically my big mug of coffee that says Best Dad on it that my wife and my kids bought for me just appeared beside my desk. And thanks for that. And so I'm going to take a big swig and maybe you'll see the improved performance. Oh man, that is still nice and warm too. Okay, let's move on. AI interior design. That's the next topic on this newsletter. AI interior design. So AI is being used for pretty much everything. And one of the things that, if you look at this trend chart, if you're watching the YouTube version, it jumps big time in the latter part of 2022, and it's just a steady rise up. The thing about it is, anything with a search topic for AI, artificial intelligence, is going to trend well. But AI interior design, I'm a little curious about this because you're going to find that, well, here's the thing is I agree with the sentiment among a lot of entrepreneurial types and forward-thinking people when they say that a lot of people are afraid and talk about how AI is going to kick us all out of work. It's going to take away all our jobs. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. But I agree with the forward-thinking folks that say, you know what? Yeah, AI is it's going to kill some jobs. It's going to kill some jobs. But the people that know how to work with AI or the people that do things that AI can never replace, those people will never be out of a job. I don't ever see AI fixing your car at the mechanic shop. Now, the mechanic that finds a way to use AI to diagnose your car, that guy is going to never be out of a job. But the people that sit and whine about AI this, AI that, it's always negative. Or Skynet's going to take over the world. If I'm wrong, then we just won't survive it, and you won't even be able to tell me I told you so. But I like to think that the people that respond to the AI innovations are going to be the people that do well in the future. And so AI interior design is a hot search topic right now. Excuse me. It integrates artificial intelligence technology with traditional interior design practices. Now, I would imagine there's as many ways to make this work as there are to do interior design without AI. And so it just depends on the person, what you're going to do. But let's see. Specifically, AI algorithms analyze data like user behavior, style preferences, and spatial requirements to offer tailored design solutions. In other words, I would imagine that someone using an interior AI tool, as a matter of fact, I see further down, that's actually the name of one of the software tools, Interior AI. I would imagine they're gonna, excuse me, you know what? I'm coughing some. That's a good signal. I need some more coffee, right? Oh man, yeah, that hits the spot. Let's go for another hit. Ooh, yeah, that's smooth. All right, so I would imagine that they're just entering some inputs and maybe demographics. Like for me, I mean, you can see the background behind me, designed by yours truly. It's an old farmhouse that we live in, and so things like the brick and the fireplace behind me, that's there. I've not done anything to tear it out or anything. I just decorated around it. And so let's say, even though I wouldn't design it like that if I was doing it from scratch, certain elements would remain. And so if, when I tear this house down and build a new one, which is what we're wanting to do at some point, this old farmhouse, there are some things here that can't be fixed. And so our dream is to just tear it down and build something new, our dream house. And so designing my dream office from scratch, I would imagine an interior AI designer would enter some inputs like rugged, manly, Indiana Jones, military, industrial, minimalist, Yeah, some interesting things like that. I mean, maybe even some things that I don't have or I want different. The bookshelves that are over there, you can't see all the bookshelves. Matter of fact, I'm going to shift the screen here. So if you're on the YouTube, you can see more of the bookshelf. I really don't like that bookshelf. It's got some aspects to it that I just really don't like. But you know what? It's here and it works. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that I would do it differently. And so I want some really nice bookshelves in my dream office. And an AI designer would take all that into account, enter it in, style preferences. They probably enter in things like color. Like I would have an AI designer enter in my brand colors. If I have the exact color number and I can, my VA has actually set that up for me inside of Canva. I can take that exact color number, give it to the interior AI designer and say, just plug this in as well. I want the main colors to be this and this with accents in this color that's part of my branding. And so out would pop a design. You can see here these systems can simulate different layouts, color schemes, there we go, and furniture arrangements, providing a virtual representation of the potential design. So basically AI, the way I see AI design working is it doing faster what the interior designers are already doing. And so it makes their job easier. But also, the really neat thing is that they could probably come up with a lot of different options quicker and faster, which, if you ask me, is better for the consumer. And I don't mind paying the same amount of money either. Matter of fact, I'd be willing to pay more money to somebody that I knew was on top of the trend and not sitting there just doing a Google search for, rugged industrial minimalist with orange number 423. I just made some of that up. But if my interior designer is doing that kind of thing, I'd rather have the one that's using interior AI. All right, it says here that that software tool has been featured in a lot of places like TechCrunch, New York Times. Users simply take a photo of their current interior, select an interior style, and the AI generates suggestions for furnishings and designs that fit the individual's style preferences. Now, the great place, here's where the interior AI designer comes into place, is they would be able to take that and then source the furniture and maybe the painter and maybe the contractors. And that's where you get the perfect synchronicity of the AI and the designer. That's going to be pretty awesome. I'm really, the more I read this, the more I'm excited for the day that I redesign my dream office. All right, let's see. And that's just a little more, okay, it's talking about, there's a paragraph at the end where it's talking about other AI topics that are hitting big, AI novel writing, hairstyles, AI tattoo generators. Now, that's an interesting one because I've been approached. One of my streams of income is UGC videos. I do a lot of video commercials for companies that advertise on social media. And I'm still working out the contract, but I've been approached by a company that runs one of these software programs that does AI tattoo generation. And so in other words, you enter in your specs, you enter in the type of tattoo. Like, do you want it colored? Do you want it blackout design? Do you want it just like a pen and ink drawing with shading? And you get choices for your tattoo. It's pretty cool. It's a really neat way to do tattoo design. And so I hope that contract comes through, because usually when I do these fun UGC contracts, I get free access to the software, or if it's a product, I keep the product. And so it's a fun stream of income because I get some really neat stuff out of it and make good money. All right, topic number 3 that they've covered. This one has been trending up with a few spikes in previous years. Kojic acid body wash. Now, I have zero idea what kojic acid is, and so let's find out. And I know what body wash is. I mean, I take a shower every now and then. And so let's see what this kojic acid does. Kojic acid body wash. It's a specialty soap it's used for skin lightening and anti-pigmentation properties. Okay, interesting. Let's see further down and see who that's for, because obviously, if you've seen pictures of me, especially my shirtless pictures when I'm modeling the tattoos and things, or if you can see me on YouTube right now, you know that skin lightening is not an issue for me. Definitely not something I need. So let's read down further. Derived from fungi. All right, so another mushroom product. Kojic acid works by inhibiting the production of melanin, which can help in reducing hyperpigmentation, dark spots, and even out the skin tone. Okay, that's pretty cool. So actually, I mean, obviously it's for people with darker skin than me. but I could see, like, if you're watching the YouTube right now, you can see my rosy cheeks. So, for instance, I don't know if that would work on rosy cheeks. I've just always had rosy cheeks since I was a little kid. I wonder if that would even help. But interesting. I do have sunspots on my nice shiny bald head as well. So this may not be. I'm not. It's not something I'm concerned about though. So this is probably not something I would ever use. But let's see further down. I bet there are a lot of people that do. Um, Let's see, popular among consumers looking to even out their skin complexion and reduce the appearance of scars and sun damage. Okay. Let's see, significant traction on TikTok. What's next? Targeted skincare solutions, hyperpigmentation. Okay, and then a lot of different kojic acid products. So before we go on to the last few topics, one of the things I want to tell you about this, and one of the reasons I like to talk about these ideas from Exploding Topics is any one of these could be your full-time stream of income if you do it right. Or it could be something that just leads into and enhances your stream of income. So as far as streams of income go, I could take, let's say I grab a company that does Lion's Mane coffee or Lion's Mane supplements. I could private label that thing, and that fits perfectly with what I do with streams of income and my work as a content creator because it helps me focus. It increases cognition. It makes me smarter and faster up here in the brain. And so I can put more stuff out that is more awesome for you. And so that would enhance what I do. Let's say you are a person that hyperpigmentation or scars, discoloration from scars, things like that. Let's say that affects you in a great way, and I can see how that would be a problem. If it did, I could see the I don't know, the issues with possibly with self-esteem, with maybe wearing short sleeves, maybe going shirtless on the beach, or wearing a bikini if you're a lady. I can see how that could be a big problem. And the thing is, if you're wanting to be an influencer, you want to be a content creator, something like that, you could craft your entire thing around pigmentation. You could hyper niche that small and possibly be the kojic acid person, the personality for kojic acid across all platforms, and that could be your full-time job. I mean, you could possibly get paid by these people. You could do your own line of stuff. You could private label some kojic acid concoctions, whether it's a face wash, the soap, the lotion, the serum. I mean, I'm looking here. There's even a kojic acid powder. So you could be the person that does that. Or if you're doing health and beauty, it could just be something you add to whatever you're already talking about. So when you're reading these opportunities and you hear me talking about them, just if they pique your interest, that's the way I want you thinking. Could I do this all on its own? Could I add this to something I already do? Or in my case, is there somebody that needs this idea and I can give it to them? I can serve my friends just by giving them ideas and opportunities that they could capitalize on. All right, the next topic, a moss agate ring. A moss agate ring. That one's been trending since 2021. It started going up quite a bit with some big spikes last year and early 2024. Let's see, moss agate rings feature a gemstone known as a moss agate as the central stone. I mean, I've heard of an agate. Moss, I guess, is the there aren't pictures here, but I'm guessing it's just the way it looks. Like maybe it has a mossy appearance inside the stone. Like it's not just a perfectly smooth and clear stone. I tell you what, since I'm on here and I'm telling you about it and everything, you should look it up, and that way you can see some pictures while I'm talking about it. Moss agate rings feature a gemstone known as moss agate. Let's see, what makes it unique is that it typically has a greenish to bluish color. Oh, there we go, with a mossy pattern. And so it's got nothing to do with actual moss. It's the pattern. Additionally, no two moss agate stones are the same. And that's pretty cool because that means that every single one is perfectly unique. And this is neat. Interestingly, moss agate rings are increasingly used as wedding rings. I like that because I don't know, I just like unique things. The old idea of just a simple or fancy, but just a gold band with a big old diamond in the middle, I find nothing unique or exciting about that. Now, a lot of you may disagree with me. A lot of you may like just the traditional aspects of that. But I find nothing unique about that. Even my own wedding ring was really cheap metal, but it had a very unique pattern on it. It wasn't gold, it wasn't silver, it wasn't anything like that. I also went for something cheap for my wedding ring because I don't. I tend to lose things. I tend to break things. And my wedding ring, it's sitting in a drawer upstairs, and it's actually been bent several times. It's crooked. Um, and so, yeah, I just went for something unique, though, very noticeable. It had Viking shields all over it. My wife's wedding ring was a claddagh. I actually had a claddagh, which is the traditional Irish wedding ring, where the two hands are holding a heart. I had a claddagh custom made for her wedding ring, and so the two hands, instead of holding a heart, they're holding a diamond. And it's also white gold instead of yellow gold. And so a little more unique. And so I find this idea of the agate, the moss agate rings as wedding rings, very unique. Very cool. Let's see. Searches for moss agate wedding ring have increased 43% over the past 2 years. That's pretty cool. Part of the unique gemstone wedding ring meta trend. In other words, there's a huge meta trend going on right now about unique gemstone wedding rings. That's where the gold is. Maybe I shouldn't have used that word, but that's where the riches are and the opportunity here. If you are a person that is into gemstones, maybe you cut gems, maybe you hunt gems, maybe you're just very knowledgeable about gems, there are so many ways you could do a stream of income based on unique gemstone wedding rings. You could be a reseller, you could be a consultant, you could, you could just set up a website where you're simply dropping affiliate links in there, or you've got a blog where you talk about like you could have a series of blogs about moss agate weddings, and by series I mean you could write a simple topic for each one. Like a topic for one blog would be and when I say blog, I guess I really mean blog, podcast, YouTube video, however you put it out there. But one simple topic could be how they're each unique. Like nobody else is going to have a wedding ring that looks exactly like yours if it's a moss agate wedding ring. Now, any 1,000 people could have diamond wedding rings and they all look identical. Yeah, they're different. And yeah, on a microscope, you might see things. I mean, maybe this girl's wearing a blood diamond and doesn't know it. And this one's got a cubic zirconia because she thought it was a diamond because her husband couldn't afford it yet. You never know, but they all look exactly the same, but not these moss agate ones. And so if you're doing something like this, I mean, this is an excellent stream of income where you could set up a website where it's mainly just nothing more than affiliates, and you don't handle the merchandise, you don't do anything like that. So a good idea there. Or you could go all the way and be the person that creates these, and that's where you're going to make the big bucks. An affiliate site, you put a lot of work in, you make a decent amount of money, but if you're the person like the international expert for creating moss agate wedding rings or just unique gemstone wedding rings, wow. I mean, you could command whatever prices you really wanted, especially if you get some celebrities buying those things. All right, here's a few examples of unique wedding and engagement rings. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm just going to make it up. Moissanite, Moiss, anite. Moissanite is a lab-created gemstone that closely resembles diamonds in appearance, but it's made from silicon carbide. Silicon carbide. So moissanite is called. So it's a lab-created substance. Now, if you wanted to buy something that looked like a diamond, but is much cheaper for now, I mean, a lot of people do that. There's no reason that everybody that gets married needs a diamond. Buy something that looks like a diamond. It's cheap. Later on, when you're filthy rich, you replace it. That's how most people should go. People assume when you get married, you need a big diamond and a house as soon as you get married. And you also need a $25,000 wedding to go with that. But you don't. The truth of the matter is you don't. So you could use this to go cheaper. Also, something I find interesting about this, and this is where you can make the money in the niches, is it's all in the way that you make these things unique. If you have two scientists getting married, or one of them's a scientist, a lab nerd, somebody that works in a white coat all the time, the idea of a lab-created gemstone might really appeal to them more than a diamond. And so that's how you can try to push things like that, is just finding a way to make it more unique, make somebody want it even more because of what it is. All right, the next one they have listed here is an obsidian ring. Obsidian is a really neat rock. I've got some arrowheads that are carved out of obsidian, and they're beautiful. It's a volcanic glass, but it's black, or at least so dark that it looks black, and very, very beautiful. I could see a wedding ring out of this, looking incredibly beautiful. The only thing about obsidian that I would be curious about for a wedding ring is that it's very fragile. It is it's a rock, but it's pretty much as fragile as glass. And also, it's in layers, I think, kind of like slate. And so I would wonder about that, what the process is to make that strong enough. But man, that would make for a beautiful wedding ring. I'm thinking an obsidian stone in a platinum or a white gold setting would be absolutely beautiful and very reflective and just really neat and unique. Let's see. I could also see here's another way to niche this kind of thing: obsidian for goth weddings or people that kind of get more into just wearing all black, things like that. That would be pretty neat. And then also the last one. Oh, this is cool. The last one is permanent rings. It's a type of permanent jewelry. The ring is welded directly onto the finder. And the idea of permanent jewelry I find interesting, not for myself. I'm not interested in any of that because I like being able to, I don't know, I just feel too restricted if I'm wearing something all the time. But one of the reasons I find permanent jewelry interesting is because my second oldest son is in welding school right now. And we were talking about streams of income the other day, and he was talking about being the welder that goes to these tattoo shops and piercing shops and welds the jewelry together. In other words, permanent jewelry is jewelry that you shouldn't be able to take off without really having to go through some trouble. I'm talking about like a bracelet that is put on your arm and then the ends are welded so you can't remove it. Like I say, a lot of reasons I don't want to do that, but it's a big trend right now. And kind of interesting that my son, who's wanting to be a welder, identified that as a stream of income because it would take some very precise and careful welding to weld this onto somebody's arm or leg or somewhere like even a permanent necklace and not cause third-degree burns or set them on fire. And he was actually explaining to me the type of welding it would take and the protective measures that he would take to do that. It's a pretty cool trend and definitely something that I'd be really curious to see him take off on. All right, so let's see. Let's just scan down the newsletter and see what else they put in this. The picture of the CEO. And then just an explanation of what Exploding Topics is. There is an ad at the bottom. Like I said, this isn't paid. I don't even have an affiliate with these guys. But Exploding Topics Pro, it says here you can try it for $1. That's pretty cool. And so if this is something you think you might need to dig into even more, like say if you do consulting, especially small business consulting, you help people find ideas, things like that. You might want to invest in Exploding Topics Pro. I get what I need out of the free newsletter, things like this, getting to talk to you about these cool topics and give you some ideas. And so in the future, expect more of these. Probably what I won't do, because a lot of times the newsletters incorporate both services and products. And so I won't go through every one of these newsletters every time. Probably what I'll do is I'll pick out the best items from 2 or 3, and then maybe every couple of weeks, maybe every couple of months, we'll talk about some of these topics and I'll give you some ideas. And in the future, what I would also like to do, and if you're interested in this, be sure to send me a message, because if you're interested, I'd love to include you on this. What I'd like to start doing is maybe building a brainstorming panel. I'd like to have a library of listeners where I can get in touch with you and you specialize in certain topics. And that way, when I'm talking about a topic, we can get on here together, do the podcast together, and you can give us your expertise. The great thing for me is that I get an expert, a subject matter expert on here with me to help talk about it. For you, I mean, if it's your business, you're going to get all the hits and everything, hopefully, from being on the podcast and free advertising, basically, because people will see you as that expert. It's one more way to get your name out there. For instance, I've got a friend. Well, I say a friend. It's been a very, very long time since we've talked. But I had a professor in EMS that I worked with a few times on an ambulance, and he had a doctorate. And but he still worked in EMS. He was a paramedic. That was his full-time job. But he was actually a geologist, specifically a gemologist. And after he retired from EMS, I believe he actually went out and set up a shop and did gemstone work. And see, that's the kind of person I would want to bring on here. I'm going to reach out to him, and see if maybe he'd be interested in this. But that's the kind of person I want to bring on here to talk about, let's say, unique wedding gemstones. And so, like I said, if you have a particular subject matter that you're an expert in, and don't worry if it's obscure, don't worry if you're a subject matter expert in, I don't know, what's something crazy, car racing video games. maybe even take it one step further. Off-road car racing video games. I mean, something that, no matter how weird it is or specialized it is, if you're a subject matter expert and you want to be on the podcast at some point with me to brainstorm some of this stuff, get in touch. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you for tuning in to this latest episode of the Streams of Income podcast with Dr. Dave. Hey, everybody. Since we're talking streams of income, I wanted to throw a little something at you as well, because an important part of streams of income is protecting that income. And scams are alive out there everywhere. And let me be perfectly honest with you. And I don't mean this insulting, because I'm speaking to the choir right here with this as well. The scammers are smarter than you, and they're more plentiful than you. I'm talking, some of these scams out there, especially the ones coming from foreign countries into the U.S., there are groups of people, I mean, making virtually no money, but they're funneling all that money to whoever's running the scams, and they're just robocalling people. They're calling people in bulk. They're searching your social media and everything. So just be aware. I want to play for you, though, a voicemail that I got the other day, and this is a crazy one. Listen to this, though. I'll play the voicemail for you, and then I want to talk a little bit about it. Hopefully, it'll come through good from a telephone. And I got my microphone right here under my beard, and so let's just put the phone right here beside the microphone and see what happens. All right, make sure everything's going volume as possible.
Hi, this is Aaron with Social Services, sir. I'm trying to find this David Powers. This is the name we have on file. We are here to inform you, sir, that you actually have a son. He's been with a foster family, but he found the information to your records, and he's trying to get back in touch with his biological father. If you could, call me back ASAP at this number. Thank you.
All right, so I thought that was pretty interesting, and first time I've had that particular scam come my way, and I just found it really interesting because biologically and physically, I can assure you that there's no way that could be possible. And so, but the dude sounded official enough to be a bureaucratic government employee in the social services. And so, most people and most guys, because of the sinful lives they led before marriage, possibly during marriage, are going to respond to this. They're going to say, you know what, I had better check this out because it could be true. And I don't want my wife or somebody else to find out when a new kid just pops up at the door. And so, but like I said, I can assure you biologically and physically, this is not possible. And so I didn't have to worry about it. I just thought it was very interesting, a very interesting scam. First time I had heard this one. I've been hit by a lot of the others, the random emails, the cloned emails that look like emails. I get tons of texts that it's like they act like they're getting in touch with the wrong number to try to initiate a dialogue with you. And, those are pretty interesting because they come across as incredibly real. And so just be careful out there. A good friend of mine in Passive Income Engines, the membership group that I run, she told me that if you didn't initiate it, ignore it. If you didn't initiate it, ignore it. And I guarantee if you do that with pretty much any emails, any texts, anything, any messages you get, voicemails you get, that if you just ignore the ones that you did not initiate, that very seldom, 99.999% of the time, you won't miss out on a thing, and it'll keep you from the bad things. And so hope you all enjoy that. Hope you had a little laugh at my expense with that scam that they attempted on me. And most of all, though, hope you learned something that'll help you protect all that income that we want you to make with streams of income. All right, y'all take care. Hey guys, I just wanted to add something real quick here at the end of the podcast because this is new. I wanted to just throw it at you, but this is a young couple that I go to church with, and I am trying to line them up for an interview soon on the podcast. And I'm trying to talk them into letting me do this in their kitchen so that I can try some of this amazing ice cream. But I wanted to go ahead and tell you about it so that I want everybody that hears this podcast and is remotely interested in starting some kind of a food business, ice cream business, anything like that, in your kitchen or in a food truck or in a commercial kitchen somewhere that you rent, to message Mr. and Mrs. Brex and say, look, you need to get scheduled to talk to Dr. Dave because I want to see that podcast. I want to see what you're doing. So a quick, just a preview here. I wanted to show you their Facebook page and just show you exactly what they're doing. Like I said, I go to church with this young couple. They are pretty amazing. They're starting their own ice cream company, just bootstrapping it, starting it small and just killing it. I have not even gotten to try it yet. That's another reason I want to do this interview. I want to try all the flavors at their house. I want to try them all and see what they'll send home with me, that kind of stuff. So let's look at their Facebook page a little bit. All right, so it's Brex Ice Cream, and let's see. I see their posts all the time too, and oh, there's a little story. That's the pin post. Let's read that. It all started with a frozen bucket, heavy cream, and cake batter. Oh, you can't go wrong with that. Breck has always had a sweet tooth and a love for ice cream, but wanted to know what was being put in each pint. Along with his wife, Taylor, we founded Breck's Ice Cream because while we loved the grocery store brands and flavors, we hated seeing ingredients that were unnatural and synthetic. Yeah, you should read those ingredients on some of that stuff. It's gross. To ensure that we knew what we were eating, it started making homemade ice cream with real ingredients anyone can pronounce. Making and perfecting one batch of cake batter homemade ice cream, which then blossomed into near limitless flavors. I wonder if they've had a coffee flavor yet. I am a sucker for anything coffee flavored. There they are in the kitchen. Look at that. Look at that. That looks like fun. It's like a bit of a working mess, but fun. And let's get down. I want to see some of these flavors. Look at that. Salted caramel swirl with candy corn chunks. Oh man, that sounds amazing. That's their fall flavor, one of their fall flavors, but it sounds pretty cool. And notice their container there. Each one has scripture on it. There you got Job 127. I think it's 27. I can't tell if it's that or 120, but they got a scripture reference from Job there. And let's see what other people are saying. No, other people just posting things about cars and stuff. All right, flavor drop. Let's pull this up. Make sure we're not missing anything. So the flavor drop, Yellow Brick Road, rich yellow cake batter base with chewy salted brownie chunks and an indulgent caramel swirl. And then there's a Reese's one. Reese's peanut butter cup chunks with the peanut butter base also. It's like double peanut butter. And then the Pudgy Panda. Sounds like me. Pudgy Panda. Ice cream base with semi-sweet chocolate chips and crunchy candied walnuts. That sounds good. So that's all I'm going to show you right now because if you're like me, I've already made you hungry, already made myself hungry. I'm going to close this down and go get something to eat. And so, like I said, if you want to see an interview on the podcast with this amazing couple, and I called them Mr. and Mrs. Brex earlier. So it's Breck and Taylor. But if you want to see this interview, message them on Facebook here, call them, do whatever you need to do. Go and pick up some ice cream and say, hey, when are you going to schedule that interview with Dr. Dave? And so, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and shut this